Greetings from Music City, USA. Man, what a week. I got home yesterday, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday I got home and I had this at the mailbox, this couple here, and then this big bad boy. And then today I got home and I had this in the mailbox, which was 14 albums that I had ordered from one infamous online retailer, and some of you will guess pretty quick who that retailer is when I start to show what I've got here. And yeah, but it just so happened, I didn't realize it until after the fact that like 80% of the stuff that I got was on Metal Blade Records, and every bit of it is our original pressings from the 80s. So that right there pretty much should tell you where it's coming from, But so anyway, I've got a few to go through, so I'm going to jump right in. Starting off, awesome Hyrax, Hate, Fear, and Power. Man, and I knew about these guys way early. They're from Cypress, California. Put together in like 82, I think. 82 or 84 maybe. Somewhere, I know they were playing Los Angeles and the Bay Area with, around the same time as Metallica and everybody. This is their second studio album. Let's see, yeah. And I just recently found out that I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Catan or Catan, but yeah, the black dude there is still doing it, man. He actually, still is the only original member, but he is still touring. They broke up in like '89. And then he reformed the band in 2000, and ever since then, man, has been going off one way or another. But Hyrax, awesome. Metal Blade Records, 1986. Metal Blade, okay, keep that in mind there. This is not Metal Blade, but this is Mesro. Then Came the Killing, and this is a short-lived Swedish thrash band. That's something else I've got to see. They put the band together in '88, and this is, I believe, their only full-length LP. They had put out like 3 or 4 demos, and this, because they broke up in '91, so they were only together 3 years, and but this has been put down as a pretty classic thrash album, and you'll see this Damage right here. It's inside the cellophane. I haven't opened any of these yet. I just got them when I got home. But down here is that unnecessary ring, whatever you do. I don't call it ringware, but it's underneath the cellophane. Unfortunately, it's just taken off the whole cover there. But I'm happy to say, besides the cutouts, which most are very small, the little cutouts, beside that is really the only Damage that I have seen on any of these albums, which is a pretty good thing considering the infamy that the oldies.com lives in. This one here may or may not be familiar to some or all of you, but I'm sure this is the Rods. This they called the Hollywood Project. It's basically the Rods, you know. Yeah, I don't really know why they call this. You know, that's not. This right here is not as catchy, or it doesn't roll off the tongue near as nice as the Rods. But yeah. But Feinstein, if you don't know already, was David Feinstein. He actually played in his cousin's band, Elf. His cousin was Ronnie James Dio, and yeah, and they kind of ended up going different directions, and obviously Dio did his own thing, and Feinstein did his own thing, and actually their first album, it's called The Rods. I think it was called Rock Hard. They released it independently in 1980, and then they signed with a major who re-released it as The Rods. But they had a couple, I don't know, maybe 3 other studio albums, and then this was the last thing that they ever put out. Haven't really heard it. I see they do a cover of Mississippi Queen, but I'm anxious to hear it. It's in really good shape too. So, yeah, that's right. Actually, this other guy, is it Kennedy? I don't know, Kennedy. Yeah, Carl Kennedy. But anyway, he produced a lot of really good records. He produced Anthrax's first 2 albums, Armed and Dangerous, and Spreading the Disease, and I think a Violence album. And I think I think he didn't do any other music. I think he did some producing, and then I don't know what happened to him after that. Here's another one, Metal Blade, 1986. Lizzie Borden. This has got to be familiar to a lot of you. And here you'll see a very small cutout, which I don't mind that at all, because I know that it's going to happen on these records. So I would much rather it be that small than to be huge. There's one in here that's really big, and other than that, I don't mind. But yeah, this is Lizzie Borden's second studio album, actually. And probably their most famous, their most popular, next to Visualize, which came out right after this. Visualize also had, what was it, Joe Holmes? Yeah, Joe Holmes, who played with Ozzy and... God, I'm drawing a freaking blank. Oh, David Lee Roth. Yeah. So, yeah, not on here, but on the next album. But, yeah, this is a good album. I didn't have this, so I'm really glad to get this. And it looks, like I said, except for the small cutout, it looks really good. Yeah, awesome. Straight from Hanford, Washington State, Metal Meltdown 3. That's right, kids. And you got this hardcore cover here, man. It was drawn in crayon, it looks like. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I had to get this. I need to mention all of these albums I got. I went to Oldies in search of one of these albums, and I'll tell you which one when I get to it. But because I had seen it on there before for $7.99, and I thought, well, hell, man, why didn't I buy that? I'm going to go back and pay $7.99. That's a good price. So I went back, and what I found was it wasn't $7.99, it was like $3.99. And I thought, damn. And they said, well, this is like a pre-Black Friday sale. And I know that they have big sales all the time on Oldies, but this was really the best that I had ever seen. Every one of these albums I paid either $3.99 or $4.99 for, with the exception of one I paid $2.99 for. So, tax and everything, all 14 albums I got for $55, I believe it was. Yeah. So anyway, don't know anything about any of these. It's these bands: Crisis, Coven, Tempt, Turmoil, Cypress, Prowess, Gypsy Kiss, Lethal Dose, Shock Treatment. I do know that like Coven came out with a full-length album, I think on the same label. I forget the label. Medusa, it's a Washington State label. But Coven came out with a full-length Death Walks Behind You, and Lethal Dose also put out a full-length. Once again, I believe it was on Medusa as well. And Cypress, I know, put out at least 1 or 2 records. That's the only 3 that I really know anything at all about. Most of the other ones just probably disappeared into the ether like so many local bands do, in every state. So it's nice to have a little document, a little picture in time, a little Polaroid of what was going on in the bands that were playing around at the time. Okay, here we go. From across the pond, everybody's favorite Raven record, The Pack is Back. No, I'll tell you why I got this. Okay, I got this because in 1986, I was a little metalhead, and I was going through the tape section at whatever, Cat's Records or Record Bar, or wherever it was, and I saw this, and in 1986, I was maybe 11 years old at the time, and this looked too cool to pass up. I was like, man, okay, this has to rock ass. And I hate to say I liked it a little bit. Even at 11 years old, I was kind of taken aback by the Gimme Some Lovin' cover, and there are some, and it is pretty terrible by most standards, but this is one of those nostalgia albums. Most metal fans know the Raven story. They put out 3 badass albums, and then they put out the Live from the Inferno live album, and then they signed with Atlantic. And after they did that, I guess the label influences and everything, maybe even management, I don't know, made them into this. Actually, what was it? Stay Hard was first. Stay Hard came out in 85 maybe, 84, 85, and then this came out in 86, followed by the Mad EP, and then Life's a Bitch, and then they cut ties with Atlantic after that. One thing about this album, it was produced by Eddie Kramer, which is, something to say. I mean, the dude, my God, he worked with Anthrax, Kiss, the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, the list goes on and on. Brownsville Station, Peter Frampton, I can't even think of all the people that he worked with, all the Fraley solo crap he did. But anyway, nostalgic purposes, I had to get this, and it was $2.99 or $3.99. I think it was $3.99. Okay, next, this cut out here. That's the biggest one, man, and it's pretty big. Obsession, yeah. Methods of Madness. Look at that. Classic stuff. Now, this is not Metal Blade either, but it is Enigma, and a lot of these are Enigma Metal Blade partners. But yeah, once again, Obsession. Most metalheads are going to know the story, but this band was basically the training wheels for vocalist Michael Becerra, who later went on to sing with Loudness, Yngwie Malmsteen, Dr. Sin, of course the Michael Becerra Project, MVP, The Reign of Terror, and about 15 other bands in between and after. And the whole while, always actually keep an Obsession going in one form or another. He is the only, once again, I think he's one of those only original members. I may be wrong about that, I'm not sure. But they actually, Obsession, I think the latest one they put out was in 2012, and I just looked it up. It was Chaos, Order of Chaos, I think. But anyway, yeah, Obsession, good stuff. 1987, thrash, just a thrashy kind of thing. Heretic. We are back to Metal Blade, back to the 80s and back to Metal Blade. Yeah. Now this is another funny story, because with this one you have the whole the Mike Howe thing. Okay, so excuse me. Okay, so yeah, this one here. Oh, yeah, it's produced by Vanderhoof too. This is the first full length with Mike Howe, who after this album left Heretic to join Metal Church, and at which time the rest of Heretic went on to form the band Reverend. And Reverend decided to take I can't remember his name. David Wayne, who was singing for the 3 albums prior with Metal Church. So basically, Metal Church and the Heretic swapped lead singers, and Heretic, I'll say Heretic. I'm sorry, Heretic. However you want to pronounce it. But Heretic changed their name to Reverend, and Metal Church stayed Metal Church. I really like Mike Howe. Mike Howe is my favorite. I don't know. Him and David Wayne both I like with Metal Church, but I've just always liked like the Blessing in Disguise album with Metal Church and stuff. So I don't know. Mike Howe's good, but anyway, I was really stoked to find this on Ollie's for freaking $4 again, man. You know, and yeah. Crazy. Another one I was very, very happy to find. Wild Dogs. And this is Enigma. Yeah, 1987. Enigma. Wild Dogs. Reign of Terror. You got the nice little, you know, man. You know that's metal, right? But yeah, Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon. I'm pretty sure Portland, Oregon band. Formed in the early 80s, like 81 or 82, and I don't know if they released. I think they might have released a couple more albums. I do know that the lead singer, I can't think of his name. Oh, yeah, Michael Furlong. That he, once again, kind of like the Obsession, he's kept this thing going, man, all these years. And, yeah, as far as I know, it's still going. But I didn't know a lot about this album, and I looked it up. I pulled it up on YouTube and listened to it when I saw it on Oldies. And, man, I got to say, this is one of the ones I was looking forward to getting the most. Excuse me. Okay, and now this one coming up is the reason that I went to Oldies to order something in the first place. This is what I was going back to get, which I thought was going to be $7.99, and that is the Dirty Rotten Imbeciles Four of a Kind. Yeah, you know, back to Metal Blade, back to 1988. Starting to see a trend here. Yeah, what can I say? Deaara formed in 81 or 82 as basically a hardcore punk band. Started out in Houston, ended up moving to San Francisco somewhere along the line. I know the first band was called the Suburbanites. They were still in Texas. And yeah, with let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, okay, 87. Yeah, in 87 they put out Crossover, which was basically where they crossed over from what people call maybe thrashcore to basically pretty full on thrash, because albums like the Dirty Rotten LP and Dealing With It, that's the other one, the second one. You know, I think Dealing With It has, I think, 25 songs on it, and you know, each one is, they average a minute long. Some of them are 45 seconds, some of them are like a minute and 15. But yeah, 87 they crossed over with Crossover. 88 came Four of a Kind, and then their biggest hit to date was 89's Thrash Zone, and something that, well, I can't think of the song. They had a video on MTV and stuff, but yeah, you know, used to wear these guys out, especially Thrash Zone when I was, you know, skating back in the day, you know, when I was a kid. I loved it, man. So I was really happy, and I'm very happy to get that. Can't wait to spin it. And here we go. Another one that I haven't had in a long, long time, and I'm happy to get it back. Face Warning. Metal Blade. And, not sure. Can't tell the date, but it's right there too, man. It's right there around 80. It's a little bit earlier, I think, than the other ones. Maybe this might be 86 or 87 or something like that. But it'll be down on the bottom of the screen. It should be. But and this one, I'm afraid, may be warped. It's the only one that I can tell feels kind of warped. But anyway, Hartford, Connecticut. Major players in the development of the power metal scene in the U.S. But progressive metal. They turned out to be, you know, what I would call one of the forefathers of maybe modern progressive metal. I don't know. That may not be accurate, but I do know this is their fourth studio album, and it was the first one to have Ray blah blah blah. God dang it, what's his name? Ray Adler or Ray Alder? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and he replaced John Arch, who sang the first one. And this one actually has a lot more thrashy influence, I think, than before or after. I think, to me, this is their most thrashiest album, even though it's not thrash by any means, you know, full on. But you know, it still has that whimsical something that it has. It was reissued in 2007. Not sure if it was reissued on vinyl or not, but I know they did reissue it on CDs. Okay. Going back to a band that we visited earlier. Here's that EP. I think this is the one I paid $2.99 for, and happy as hell to do it. Because after getting the Pack Is Back in 86, this was the next album that I got. And I got it on vinyl because it was in the cutouts of, you know, whatever record store I was shopping in at the time. So back then I paid $1 for it or something. And I tell you, man, this was their response. I believe this was the band's response to all the bull crap that the Pack Is Back, you know, caused them. And man, they get their point across because other than the synthesizer, like that basically opens up the album at the beginning of Speed of the Reflex, you hear no sign of the other album that just came out earlier that year. And I love this. I love this EP. It's great, and I was stoked to get it again. Like I said, I haven't had it in a long time. Very glad to find it. Mad. All right, here's another one. EXE. Now, originally named Executioner, but they had to change that name because there's like a million bands named Executioner. This was put out in '87, Shatter Records, and yeah, pretty nice size cutout in this one. But I wish you could see these guys, man. They've really got that Spinal Tappy, like Spinal Tap meets Wasp, I guess, thing going on. And these guys especially are really trying to be scary. But I love it, man. I love that kind of stuff, you know. But you know, '87. Okay, so that's after the forefathers of thrash, and before the cleaned up '90s thrash that happened, which I like both. Don't get me wrong. You've got like '87 and '88, which produced albums like this, which honestly, if I was going to compare it to anything, what I've heard, because I've only listened to like half of this online. I haven't haven't opened it yet, but it's dark and raw. You know, the production is really raw, and it's I wouldn't say a diamond, but maybe a cubic zirconia in the rough. You know, it's got a sprig of speed metal, but mainly thrash. Comparable to maybe Exciter, or somebody said it reminded them of Death Row, Raging Steel. But it's definitely a worthy ally to add to your Expedit shelving unit for sure. And it's you know, you can't go wrong. This is thrash with class, you know. So that says it all right there, doesn't it? I can't believe we're already at the end here, but last but not least, definitely not least, our friends from up north, Anvil. Another little cutout here, one of the skinny ones. I don't mind the skinny ones too bad though. Pound for pound, Anvil. Got to love Toronto's finest. Metal Blade, 1988, right? Yeah, 1988 Metal Blade again. Man, they got a stack of 1988 Metal Blade records at oldies right now. Yeah, their fifth studio album, fifth. Yeah, the fifth studio album, that's right, and the last with the four original members. Talking Dave Allison left and was replaced by Ivan Hurd. No, Ivan Hurd played with him up till the 2000s. It was Sebastian Marino. I think that's right. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Sebastian Marino took his place, and then Ivan took Sebastian's place until the mid 2000s when Lips said, "Like I can handle the guitar duties. We just need to be a three-piece now." But yeah, pound for pound, it's an Anvil album, man. I mean, if you like Anvil, you're gonna like this album. You know, that's one thing I love about Anvil, dude. They stay true to their sound. You know, they never switched it up to go along with the trends or the fads. It's Anvil is Anvil. And you got to respect that in a band, especially in a genre that definitely fell out of favor, you know, to the majority of the population. Yeah. that's it. That should be 14. I was listening before it stopped playing. While I was listening to side A of this old gem here. I dug it out because I'd gotten an Accept record the other day. I was looking through all my Accept stuff to see exactly what I had, and I hadn't listened to this in ages. And man, I'm gonna have to dig out a lot of other Accept stuff and start listening to it, because I'd forgotten how much I really like that stuff. And Udo, yeah, that sums me up. So a box full of metal Blade, and a box full of 1988. Thanks a lot. I'll have another video coming up in the next day or two, because besides this stuff, I got a bunch of non-metal this week. I got a couple box sets, and yeah, a smaller handful of rock and roll or alternative music, whatever you want to call it. Thank you for watching. Very, very, very much appreciated. Thanks for the subs, and we will see you later.